Thanks again for having me here. First off, I just want to say that was that? Continue? Yeah. I just wanted to share with you that I always get energized when I come to this sort of a venue because I'm surrounded by entrepreneurs and people that are young and excited about getting into business for themselves. Because my company is very much an entrepreneurial company. I started it with my brother 18 years ago. And like any entrepreneur, as a need to start a company, we saw an opportunity. And I'm pleased to see that there's such an interest in India with that entrepreneurial spirit to go out there and start your own business, your own company. Some of you are first-timers looking at getting into your own franchise. Some people have been in other businesses and decided, now I want to go and get on my own. You've been an employee, now you want to go start working somewhere else, and you have to reinvent yourself. So all the stuff that you're thinking about doing or that you're contemplating, I have gone through for the past 18 years, and if there's anything that I can help you as far as guidance or questions, please feel free to come to me and ask me. But we've been in business 18 years. We've operated in more than 10 different countries, our cafes. And after all this time, we've decided that finally it's time to start franchising our brand because we have a program that we feel can be successful for young entrepreneurs. And I personally, when I talk about franchising my business, I want to make sure that whoever takes on the program, we're going to see them through it to succeed. And to hold their hands and make sure they get trained properly instead of just, making it a bad experience for them. So I'm looking forward to sharing this with you. Thank you.
Brian?
Hi, again, thanks for having us here. So I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Green Beans Coffee. As Jason said, we've been around for 18 and a half, 19 years. We're currently operating in 10 countries. We have a franchise in some franchises in the U.S., and we also have a franchise in Japan. We're doing very well with them, and part of that process was running our business for several years to make sure that we had a model that works and a model that we could replicate. And so not only are we a coffee company, we have Green Beans Coffee, we're also a food company. We do both. We do coffee, we do food, we do a wide variety of food items. And certainly as you come by and talk to us, you'll see that we're very open and understand that we have to modify some of our food and beverage offerings that milled with the market, because it's important that we listen to our customer and certainly treat them as someone mentioned in an earlier session that the customer's not always right, which is true, but they always come first. And so if you keep that in mind, that will help guide your business. So anyway, so we're here to help, and again, thanks for having us here today.
Sure. Uday?
Hi. I believe that we are the youngest company on the panel here. And I think the question that all of you would have is that, what are we doing and why tea, basically? So to just give you a brief background about an organization, there are 4 of us who promoted this company. And in a past life or in a past avatar, we ran a business on franchising, which we exited about a couple of years back, which was a large franchise network. And we were looking at getting into a business which had a large potential in India. So we've been studying basically teas for the last about 3 to 4 years across the world, really. And some interesting findings broadly, to name a few. One is that if you look at the western part of the world and the eastern part of the world, they're very diverse in terms of the beverages that they consume. The eastern part of the world, China, Japan, all those countries have had a tradition and a history of tea, which is, legend has it, it goes back about 5,000 years. And they consume large amounts of tea. But the interesting developments were what we found out in the western part of the world. Essentially, I'm talking about Europe and the American markets, where we found that although they are largely coffee-consuming countries, but we found a trend that a lot of the younger people are shifting to tea in a very large way. So, we have our panelists here, but we visited places like San Francisco, New York, and interestingly, in each of these places, there are more than 50 tea lounges operating, doing well, and growing. And coming back to India, we are a tea-consuming country. We consume large amounts of tea. So in terms of numbers, tea consumption in India is about 10 times the coffee consumption. But if you look at the space of cafes, it's dominated by the coffee chains for the last about 10 years or so, and that market is very large and growing. And if you look at the tea space, very small, not really organized. That's what we found as a huge opportunity. And that's how the tea trails as a concept basically came along. So what we have basically on our menu is about 80 varieties of teas. So we have teas from all over the world, the best of teas from China, Japan, South America, Turkey, many countries. Then India also produces the best tea in the world. So the Darjeeling produces the best, it's called the champagne of teas, and we produce the best teas in the world. So we get teas directly from the tea gardens of Darjeeling, from Assam, from Nilgiris, Kangra. Unfortunately, these teas are not available to the Indian consumer. They get all probably exported out. So that's on the menu. And then we have the international teas, the teas from the tea gardens, and then we also have a chai. So what I mean by chai, as distinct from tea, is what we brew with milk, and we are the only people in the world that actually consume it like that. Interesting, but yeah, so we have about a dozen varieties of teas, chais that we have curated, which includes the familiar masala chai, the kullar chai, there is ginger chai, and there are many more spices that we have sort of curated on our own. Then we have food, which is, we've also done some interesting developments on the food side. So one is that everything is served fresh, so everything is prepared fresh. We have a lot of recipes which are tea infused, so we use tea as a recipe in some of our dishes. We do tea pairing, like the wine pairing, so we have food which goes with different kinds of teas is something that we have on the menu. So that's with that concept we started off a couple of years ago. Currently we have 10 outlets operating in Bombay. Very successful. The feedback from the customers, we have a very loyal base of customers, is extremely good. And coming from the background of franchising, we wanted to get into franchising, but we took about a couple of years to perfect the business model, to perfect the back end for our franchising operations. And now we're ready to roll out. So we currently have 2 franchise outlets, so 8 are our own, 2 franchised in Bombay. We are going the route of master franchise, so we have signed up master franchisees for states of Tamil Nadu, for the state of Andhra, Telangana, Karnataka. So that's the model that we're doing. We have funding that we've got into the company as well. So we have expansion plans. So we want to be 500 outlets in the next couple of years. So that's the plan broadly of the expansion that we have.
Great.
And I think we're on the right path.
Thanks.